six-wheeled articulated lorry that caught the back wheel of my push bike. And as I fell to the ground, the wheel of the lorry caught my right ankle. Oh. And in that moment, when I fell to the ground and I realized I was hurt, I remembered the conversation that my intuition had with me. You know, you need to rest, stay in bed, have that line. I just thought, oh my goodness. And I think that was a massive wake-up call that we're more than our mind. Yeah. We have an intuitive connection to all-seeing, all-knowing universal source that wants the best for us and is guiding us every single moment of the day, every moment, moment by moment, second by second. And in that moment, while I was lying on the wet tarmac, there was a flash of, oh, this didn't have to be. And then from there was a spiral of events that woke me up, smell the coffee, woke me up. And it was just this constant, open your eyes, smell the coffee. And what I didn't realize at that time, that now I can look back and see very transparently, that I'd been given moments of conversation, moments of open your eyes, moments of wake up, hello, we're here, that I didn't have the awareness of to, number one, notice, and number two, take action on it until I nearly lost my life.
Get ready to reclaim your life, discover inspiring stories, practical tools, and the path to true happiness. This is Reclaim Your Life with Irina. Let's begin the journey. Hello and welcome to Reclaim Your Life. Today's guest is Denise Nero. She is a lifelong learner, aka Zabina Buff, works with teachers, leaders, coaches, and midlife business owners. As a spiritual life, health, and strength longevity coach, she loves one-to-one and group work supporting midlife clients to surpass their goals with their lifestyle, wellness, and longevity aspirations. And she is joining us from St. Lucia. Welcome, Hi. Denise. It is a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful introduction. I appreciate that.
Thank you. How are you today? How is the weather in St. Lucia? Nice and sunny?
It's wall-to-wall sunshine, and I'm always happy when it's warm. So yeah, very happy.
That's awesome. All right. So please share with us who you are in your own words.
Yes, I'm born Denise Nero, but my avatar, my brave one, the one that gets up on stage and gets it done, a little bit like Beyonce's Tasha Fierce, is Zabina Buff. And as Zabina Buff, which is the name of my business, I'm able to inspire women and individuals that have got to that chapter in their life, the chapter of midlife, to inspire them to take care of their health, their wellness, their well-being, so they don't have to put themselves in a box of health. I'm a certain age, I'm too old, I cannot do X, Y, and Z. It doesn't have to be a limitation. In fact, being in midlife almost gives us a license to spread our wings in a way that we weren't able to when we were younger.
You're right. We have like a new beginning, a second birth, finally to do the things we always wanted.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, you know, if more of us speak that and affirm it and be examples of that, then others can see, well, maybe what I was told was a lie. And I'm seeing evidence of what the truth really is.
Yeah, you're right. What are you passionate about?
I actually did a personalities values assessment. And even though I had an idea of what moved me in terms of my passions, having it set out there as 5 core values, it reinforced that health is my number 1 core driver. And what spins off that is peace and integrative living and security, but the core driver is health. And I think my life shows me evidence of the fact that health and being well without any pain is a massive driver. I'm very, very passionate about achieving that for myself and for others.
Yeah, I think health is the foundation of anything. It's like when you build a house, you want it to have a strong foundation. Without health, we don't have that in our life. If we let our health go haywire, and it's not just
Completely.
physical health, but all kind of health, emotional,
Across the
mental,
board.
spiritual. To create that kind of level field, from then we can grow. It's like planting good seeds and creating that good soil for our life. So I love that.
So true. And I'm so pleased, Irina, that you brought that up as a reminder that health isn't just what you see in the mirror. Health
Right.
is that holistic wheel. It's the seed to everything.
Yeah. Yeah. What makes your heart sing?
Honestly, I love all forms of movement. I'm passionate about dance. I love Latin music and I really enjoy kizomba and salsa dance. Line dance, I do soulful line dancing as well. So any form of movement, as a Pilates teacher, a Qigong instructor, movement is in there for me. So yeah, when I'm moving and enjoying that feeling in my body of my body can do this. It feels so good. I love that.
Yeah, it's because you have health. You're able then to use your body in the best possible way and enjoy it at the same time. That's
Love
amazing.
it. Yeah.
What makes you happy?
Thank you for asking me that question. I love the feeling of warmth. I actually start my day. I'll jump in the shower. So I wake up, jump in the shower. Actually, that's not quite true. There's some steps that I do before I jump in the shower. I do a little bit of breath work, I make a connection with myself, jump in the shower. That's around 6:30, and I will go out on my sun lounger with the clothing that God created me with, and I will connect with the sun. And that feeling of warmth every single day is unbeatable. I feel like I'm being kissed by the universe. I love it.
Oh, that's amazing. And in St. Lucia, what a perfect spot to do.
Absolutely. And even when it's cloudy, you can get some sense of the warmth. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Amazing. What was the moment in your life that caused you to wake up?
There was a pivotal moment. How long have you got? I'll give you the potted version. There was a time in my life that I would say my mind run the show. And in terms of having a connection to my heart or my intuitive self, I think that there was a massive disconnect, although at the time I was unaware of that. I was a huge gym bunny. It happened to be in London in November. And this particular morning, I woke up as I would normally quite early and remember thinking, I actually don't feel like going to the gym this morning or doing a workout. I would actually quite like to have a lie-in. And my brain, my conditioned self jumped in and said, but you said you're going to go and you better just get up and do what you said you're going to do. So I reluctantly got up, pulled on my items to leave the house. And in the UK, you can imagine middle of November, frosty, still dark at whatever hour before 7 o'clock I left the house. And I got into cycling at that time, push bike cycling. And as I got on the bike, I hadn't left the house more than 5 minutes. And I was knocked over by actually, it was a six-wheeled articulated lorry that caught the back wheel of my push bike. And as I fell to the ground, the wheel of the lorry caught my right ankle. Oh. And in that moment, when I fell to the ground and I realized I was hurt, I remembered the conversation that my intuition had with me. You know, you need to rest, stay in bed, have that line. I just thought, oh my goodness. And I think that was a massive wake-up call that we're more than our mind.
Yes. Yeah.
We have an intuitive connection to all-seeing, all-knowing, universal source that wants the best for us and is guiding us every single moment of the day. every moment, moment by moment, second by second. And in that moment, while I was lying on the wet tarmac, there was a flash of, oh, this didn't have to be. And then from there was a spiral of events that woke me up, smell the coffee, woke me up. And it was just this constant, open your eyes, smell the coffee. And what I didn't realize at that time, that now I can look back and see very transparently, that I'd been given moments of conversation, moments of open your eyes, moments of wake up, hello, we're here, that I just I didn't have the awareness of, to number one, notice, and number two, take action on it, until I nearly lost my life.
Sometimes we have to, and it's unfortunate that we wait for some tragic event to occur before we start paying attention to intuition, paying attention to signs that the universe is always throwing at us. And it takes this shake-up for us to realize, what am I doing? Where is my life going? Am I on the right path? Am I doing what my true calling, or am I just hoping the day is over and just being in that cycle?
Yeah, I think in my case, I'm intrigued by the word that you used, unfortunate, because I think in my case, I needed that unfortunate happening, that experience, to wake up. Right. Because had it, gently tapped me on the shoulder and just gave me a gentle nudge here and there, I'd still be asleep now. So I really needed that massive clout over my head, literally, to wake me up. And what I'm realizing now that I'm on this side of the fence, and I look at the majority of the world, especially after the pandemic, a lot of the population are asleep. They are not awake, number one, to their lives and the potential they have to be limitless.
You're so right. And what were the 3 biggest lessons you learned as a result of your wake-up call?
Intuition, that such a thing even existed. That my mind and my body isn't who I am. Like, what? Really? I'm more than that. And also, for me, especially at that chapter of my life, I had a level of conditioning that prevented me to speak my truth. And I was, again, I can look back now and see clearly that I would censor what I would say, and I would say what I would felt that needed to be heard, but not speaking from my authentic truth. And to now be able to feel free to give myself the permission to say whatever truth comes from my heart is the truth of who I really am. And everybody has that as their birthright.
I think it is because we always want to belong. So we say things that are appropriate, or to meet the expectation and to feel that we are part of something, even though inside we could be something on the outside, and thinking, I don't want to be alone. I want to be a part of something. So I'm going to comply, oblige, and be whoever they want me to be. But when we do that, we lose ourselves in the process, we lose our identity, and then we end up in midlife crisis or some other crisis that we no longer recognize who we are, because
completely.
we
have been 100%. Although I recognize that, at the time while I had that level of condition, I now can see that I'd been programmed that way. Didn't know that then, but I know now that I was programmed, be the good girl, say the appropriate thing, perform for others so that you can be accepted.
Yep, you're so right. What is your mission?
I feel that my ultimate mission is to speak my truth as I see it, to inspire others to be heard. And, the beauty of being in this chapter of our lives, well, for me and the people that I serve, is that we're so much less conscious of what other people think. You know, it's like been there, seen it, got the t-shirt. That really isn't important. So it's at this point in our lives that we can honestly just go there, just speak it. And it doesn't have to be hurtful or unconsiderate, but it can be spoken from our truth, our authentic self. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I want to do, inspire people to speak as they find it, and also to use what I know about health and wellness and movement to support people to choose preventative health so that they can go to the end of their day being healthy, doing whatever inspires them. Yeah. And to come to the expiration date, living a full life.
That's incredible. And I love it that, you know, you want to reverse the narrative, because we think always like if we get older, we're supposed to get sick, and that this is the expected lifestyle, but we don't have to believe that anymore. We can choose differently. We can have that preventative maintenance and create a lifestyle that is easy to follow, that gives us the longevity that we need and the strength that we want, that allows us to do the things that we want to enjoy, and not how they say, what do they say? Yeah, vigor or vitality is wasted on the young, because we have all that energy and resources and we want to do things, but then we're doing the work that we don't like, getting the paycheck, and then when we finally retire, we don't have the energy and vitality anymore. We just want to check out on the backyard or something.
100%. And also, you know, what I'm seeing, and again, I'm not pointing a finger here, I'm just observing what I see, is that the languaging, so the mindset around being a certain age means that I'm too old too. Why do you there's a choice here. We don't have to choose that languaging. In fact, I choose not to, number one, have a connection to my biological age. Yes, I was born into the world, and there'll be a day that I'll be taken out of the world. But, you know, I can choose to be X amount of years young. I don't have to choose to be X amount of years old, because there's an energy around everything that we express. Our cells can hear us.
Yes, I believe age is just a number, and it could mean whatever you want it to mean. It doesn't have to be what it is.
Yeah,
it's all in our perception and how we perceive the world, and what kind of meaning we make out of it. I think I'm 17, and then I look at my kids and like, they're my kids, but I feel like, you know, even field.
I know. And I think it's so wonderful when we can see examples of this. I mean, the blue zone, we hear about the blue zone and the Japanese culture. And then, you know, oftentimes I hear people say, well, yeah, that's in the blue zone. And yeah, well, that's in Japan. Well, actually, that can be for anybody that chooses that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. You're right. Did you have a hero growing up?
I did. I remember in my teenage years, very moved by reading, especially autobiographies. And I remember reading the autobiography of Malcolm X, as well as Maya Angelou. She's written some amazing books, fantastic poet, amazing, limitless example of living life to the full. And I honestly feel that she's a kind of guardian angel for me. So yeah, she's a massive example, Maya Angelou.
I love it.
So many different levels.
What was the best quality that you wanted to emulate from your heroes?
I think just showing up.
Okay.
Just showing up. You know, I'm here. I'm going to shine my light unapologetically.
Right.
And I think, you know, when I look at Maya Angelou as an example, Malcolm X, oh my gosh, the hurdles that he surpass, to speak his message, to get his truth across. Maya Angelou as well. I mean, gosh, she's got so many titles, so many hats. And she just went out there and did it. So I'm just in awe.
That's amazing. I love it. What's the smallest thing you've done that had the biggest impact in your life so far?
I honestly think it was discovering that I am more than my mind, and I'm actually more. Not only am I more than my mind, I'm not my mind, and I'm not my body. I think that was like, okay, then what am I? Then I explored energy work. I'm a energy alignment method practitioner. I got into that. Let me just see now. In the 2000s, I got into that. And I'm constantly fascinated by the fact that everything is energy. You, me, this phone, everything's energy. And when you look at yourself and you look at life that way, it completely blows everything else out of the water. It gives me a perspective that helps me to see so much more than I would have just thinking, I am my mind, I am this body. I'm limited by that.
Yeah, you're right. And it takes a different perspective, and you got to, like you said, you see the world differently.
So much.
You can't put the toothpaste back in inside. Once it's out, you see the world with a different kind of. Imagine having a frames and taking them off.
So true, Irina. And as you were saying that, what I was seeing was almost the Russian dolls. That you can literally take it off and not be frightened to have a look. Right. It's only energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it might be uncomfortable in the moment of, oh, if I take that off, what am I going to find? But ultimately, it wants to be looked at.
Yeah, yes.
It's an invitation.
That's right. What is your superpower? If you had to pick one.
Yeah, this is a superpower that I wasn't personally conscious of myself, but what I've heard people say is that I have an ability to share and explain complicated topics or subjects in a simplistic way. And yeah, I would recognize that as a superpower. And I also learned later in my life, in this midlife chapter, that I am a natural teacher. I love exploring unusual, interesting topics, and I love to break it down and explain it in ways that others can understand it.
I think that's a very important quality to have. Because oftentimes people like to speak in acronyms or this complicated things, somehow showing how educated they are. But what it does is just disconnects you from the conversation, and ability to distill it down to the level that everyone understands is the better way to connect, and is a better way to explain things and just make it simpler. So I love that superpower. That's incredible.
Yeah, completely. And Irina, I actually heard I think he calls himself a biologist. He's massively groundbreaking. His name is Gary Brecker. I literally just learnt of him recently. And he started out as an insurance assessor for life insurance, figuring out how long someone's going to die and how much they could be insured by. And while he was doing that work, he was inspired to support people with their lives so they can live the longest and healthiest life. So he created these tools and modalities. And when I hear him speak, please look him up. And anyone that's looking at this podcast, please look up Gary Brecker. He has a phenomenal ability of explaining difficult subjects and difficult concepts in a way that your 5-year-old could understand. And in terms of understanding that health does not have to be complicated, It can be simple as breathing and going to bed by a certain time and watching the languaging. How are you speaking to yourself? Simple steps. You add those pillars and you're adding years to your life.
Yeah, you're right. Oftentimes we think having a healthy lifestyle is complicated, but it's actually in the daily, minute by minute things that we do every day is what creates our health in the end. And sometimes it could be so simple. We always think that everything has to be complicated, and we dismiss the simplest, easiest, natural thing like breathing or walking or something that we take for granted.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's just human beings just almost think it has got to be more complicated than this. Actually, no, it's actually pretty simple.
Yeah. What do you want to create next? Or are there any fun projects you're working on that you would like to share?
I'm inspired by, his name escapes me right in this moment. I can see his face. But I heard about a year, 2 years ago about a fellow, he's all over YouTube and social media platforms, about him being inspired to be a part of the Centurion Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, wow, that would be a really interesting thing to have an experience of.
Right.
And I feel it's motivated me to show others how they can have pillars and steps in place so that whether they want to be a participant in the Centurion Olympics or not, having these pillars in place allows them to live a long and healthy, pain-free, strong and well life because they've got those pillars in place, as if they could be a participant in the Centurion Olympics. So I'm really fueled by that and very excited to share my learnings with others.
All right, awesome. Have you done Olympics yourself before?
I haven't. I have done competing, but no Olympics. No, I haven't.
In which discipline?
Bodybuilding.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I've done a couple of bikini class bodybuilding competitions. That was intriguing. That was interesting. I learned a lot about myself through that process.
That's
Firstly,
incredible.
it's not sustainable, but interesting to do.
That's amazing. I love it. If people would like to connect with you, or is there anything I haven't asked that you would like to share?
I think what I would like to say is that anybody that's watching this that has resonated with anything that I've said, if you could take one thing away from what I've shared, is to be curious about your limitation. So if you want to do something, you have a desire to explore something, be curious about the reason why you're saying no to yourself. Remove the judgment and look into the Russian doll and explore what is that about.
I like that analogy. And yes, it takes courage to look at our own faults because it's so easy to blame others for our choices. It's so easy to say, oh, I couldn't do this because of this person or that situation. But it all comes back to us. And yes. I like that message and having the courage and finding the limitations so that you can break through of them and be free of them and follow what it is that you want to create.
So true. And also to be kind to yourself, be your own best friend in that exploration, in that moment of curiosity, rather than here's another reason to beat myself up. Hold space for yourself. Be your best friend so that you can take the lid off that Russian doll and have a look.
Yes.
Yeah, there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity.
Yeah. If people would like to connect with you, where would they go?
I have a Facebook business page, Zabina Buff. I'm across the social media platforms. On Instagram, they'd be able to find me. LinkedIn, I'm Zabina D Nero on there. So yes, type in hashtag Zabina Buff and you'll find me across the social media platforms.
Awesome.
That is, by the way, Zabina with a Z, as in zebra. Yeah, Zabina. Yeah.
We'll include everything in the show notes. I want to thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story, your wisdom, and I love your lessons after your wake-up call, which were the listening to your intuition and being fully aware that you are a human having a spirit, having a human experience, and that everything is a gift, and being present to that. So thank you so much for coming on, sharing your wisdom. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Irina. Thank you for having me.